Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 34 of Big Brother Season 23, and welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. A good Tuesday to y'all. That did happen. It actually did happen. As you recall, Derek X had won the HOH, put up Brittany and Sarah Beth on the block, not really planning on either one of those being his primary target. And it worked out because Saturday's veto competition, Brittany wins it. So sure enough, yesterday at the veto ceremony, Brittany pulls herself off the block, setting up a perfect condition for a backdoor, which Derek X pulls the trigger on, replaces Brittany with Christian. So the beginnings of a backdoor plan are in motion. It wasn't a complete surprise. It wasn't a complete blindside because apparently someone told someone that got back to Alyssa, that got back to Christian. You know how things go inside the house. So they had an inkling before the ceremony of what was getting ready to happen. But they were still a bit shocked that it actually did. As soon as the feeds came back, Christian's upset. He said, "Oh, I should have gotten them out last week. I waited too long. Now they're getting me," and very upset. Alyssa's trying to calm them down a little bit. Eventually, they spent the whole rest of the day campaigning. Yeah, sometimes some seasons, some weeks, people don't really start campaigning until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Not this time. Not this time. Within minutes, apparently, of the feeds coming back, Christian and Alyssa are already working out plans, trying to figure out how they can save themselves. I said earlier that I thought this could be a tight vote one way or the other, pull the house apart and everything. I'm not as convinced that's going to be the case now. Everything I heard last night suggests to me that Christian's going home. He may have one or two votes. Obviously, he'll have Alyssa's vote. Maybe not so obvious. You know the way votes go sometimes, but it really seems like the House has kind of reached a consensus, at least for now, that Christian is going home. But he's going to do everything in his power. This guy isn't going to go out without a fight. So lots of campaigning that took place yesterday, and it went on into the evening itself. So we're going to talk about that a little bit and talk about some of the other conversations that took place as well. So let's start off with Kylan and Sarah Beth. Lots of conversation between Kylan and Sarah Beth right now. Remember, she's still on the block, and we think she's safe, but that doesn't mean that you aren't still nervous and you aren't still planning ahead and everything else. So Kylan and Sarah Beth are talking about different alliances they could form going forward to try to protect themselves a little bit better. The key part of these, I think there are about 3 different configurations or so. The key part of all of these alliances was Kylan and Sarah Beth and Hannah and Derek X. They're thinking the 4 of them should be able to work together and advance quite a ways in the game. And actually, those 4 coming together makes a lot of sense because certainly if Christian goes home, you'll have Alyssa, you may have Xavier. You're going to have people that are coming after both of those groups or both of those duos. So it makes sense for them to be working together. So we hear about this potential alliance, Kylan, Sarah Beth, Hannah, Derek X, maybe add Derek F as an additional number, and maybe even add Claire and Tiffany as additional numbers and support as well. So you could, one configuration was talking about up to 7 people. That seems like a huge alliance for this point in time. And I got to say, I don't really see Tiffany and Claire working closely with Sarah Beth and Kylan, especially given how much Tiffany has been throwing Kylan and Sarah Beth under the bus for the past week and a half or so. I don't see it, but they at least have thrown it out there. So they're looking at ways that they can protect themselves going forward. Because Sarah Beth, and she mentions it later, even if she survives this week, she is worried that she may just keep getting put up on the block, that she has developed some enemies that maybe she wasn't aware of. And we'll talk about that some more. So they're trying to look at some configurations that may work for them. We've got Tiffany talking to Christian. I love it. Tiffany is giving Christian some advice, and I think it's good advice, actually. But she's telling him, look, slow down, take your time. You don't have to do everything today. And don't necessarily go straight after Sarah Beth, attacking her, throwing her under the bus and all of that. That's not the way to do it. She's saying instead of doing that, just plant some seeds, spread some seeds, get everyone paranoid, nervous about Sarah Beth. Let them come to their own conclusions that she needs to go instead of you just trying to force your way in there. So just create all kinds of suspicions and go slow. First of all, let me say, I think that's smart in a lot of ways for Christian, that he can't be too aggressive in the way he campaigns. But it's also incredibly smart from Tiffany's benefit. Let one house guest, Christian, drag another house guest, Sarah Beth, down by throwing out all kinds of accusations and things like that against her, or at least creating the suspicions of it. Then he heads out the door, and now Sarah Beth has just that much bigger a target on her, which works out perfectly for Tiffany. So Tiffany certainly not just planting her own seeds, but convincing other people to plant seeds as well, in order to continue to grow the targets that aren't her. So that was very interesting. Claire, a couple of things, not really strategy, but remember we had Derek X, who was Lord of the Latrine. His punishment's over. He doesn't have to escort people to the bathroom anymore. And if I was in that house, I'd be saying, thank you. That'd be as much a punishment for everyone else in the house as it is for Derek X. But he's through. But that doesn't mean the punishments for the week aren't over. We've got 2 new punishments that have come into play at this point in time from the same veto competition. Claire has a punishment outfit. Looks like the Queen of Hearts, a deck of cards. Something looks like out of Alice in Wonderland. So she's wearing a costume that looks like a deck of cards. And she has to play 52 pickup whenever Big Brother requests it. For those of you who don't know, basically involves taking a deck of 52 cards, throwing them up in the air, and then you bend down and you have to pick up all 52 cards. So Big Brother can tell her to go into a room and do 52 card pickup whenever they want. So I don't know exactly how long it's going to last, but she's having fun with it right now, and she seemed to have fun with it overnight. Maybe not so much here before too much longer. So that's Claire's punishment. Not the only punishment we've got going on. We also have another punishment. This one was Kylan. He was Jackass Club, I think they said. So his punishment, he comes out. He's wearing a full donkey costume. He looks like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. And so he's wearing a donkey costume. And his punishment is that anytime Big Brother requests it, he has to make a club sandwich for whoever Big Brother requests. Sometimes they'll say the entire house. Sometimes they'll say a specific individual. He has to make the sandwich, go take it to them, and I'm not sure if they have to eat it. Probably not, but he has to at least give it to them. Here's one kicker that some people ought to be very appreciative of. If Big Brother says fix club sandwiches for the entire house, the have-nots get to eat it as well, which is a have-not. That you ought to be entirely extremely grateful for that. That's the tough part. Christian is being backdoored. It looks like he very well may be going home. He is also a have-not. So not only is he seeing his game in jeopardy, but he's probably not feeling great. He's eating slop. He's taking cold showers. It's going to be a tough week for Christian and Alyssa as well, because she sees her game tied up along his, even though they aren't a showmance, right? They're not a showmance, but it doesn't matter. If Christian's affected, Alyssa is obviously going to be affected. So there you are. 2 punishments. Claire has to pick up cards. Kylan has to fix club sandwiches for everyone. For at least the next day or two. I don't know how long these things last for. We've got a conversation going on. This is between Brittany and Derek F. and Ozza. So basically the Jokers, former Jokers, are all talking. Derek F. is saying that Christian thinks that Derek and Brittany are voting to save him. I kind of assumed maybe they would as well at the early part of the day. That's why I thought the votes were going to be tight. I really thought that Christian maybe would get some of the Joker votes. Apparently, I was wrong. Apparently, that is not the case. The way Derek F. is talking, it does not sound like Derek F. or Brittany, either one, are going to be voting to save Christian. I'm a little surprised. So he's mentioning that. Ozza is saying that she told Christian that she would sleep on it, that she really wanted to think about it before committing one way or the other. So come back to me later, Christian. Don't be asking me for commitments right now. And so he said, okay with that. Now, they're talking about a deal that the Kings apparently offered the Jokers to save Christian. And at the time, they didn't say what the deal was. A little bit later, it was mentioned. Apparently, Christian has come to them and said, look, if you will save me, and if you'll promise not to nominate me or Alyssa, if y'all have that power as HOH, if you'll do that, in exchange, I will throw the next HOH. If there's a way to do it, I will throw the HOH to you. If that's not possible, if I win HOH anyway, I promise I won't put y'all up on the block. You are welcome. You have the HOH room for the entire week. I'll sleep somewhere else. Y'all come up here. You can eat everything in my HOH baskets. You can listen to my music. You can have all the advantages of an HOH. I won't take part in any of it. And all you have to do is save me. Make your pitch. That's maybe not the deal if I'm on the Joker side that's going to convince me to save one person over another, but he's doing what he can. He later says, Alyssa had nothing to do with this. I just came up with it on my own. I'm doing what I can to survive. So he has offered this deal up to the jokers, and they're talking about that a little bit. But they're also talking, man, and I don't know that they're seriously going to consider it. They're laughing about it, and I think later they tell some other people about it, and word gets out to the rest of the house that this deal has been offered, and I'm not sure anyone is too concerned about it, really. But they do mention that. They're talking also about it, that they want to try to bring in Xavier. If Christian goes home, they know Christian and Xavier are tight, so they want to try to bring in Xavier. So they're talking about maybe waiting until Wednesday, early in the morning, towards the end of the week, bringing in Xavier and saying, look, Christian and kind of Alyssa, but mainly Christian, offer this deal to us to protect, to save them, but they didn't include you at all. Part of it was that we agreed not to nominate Christian or Alyssa if we took this deal. They didn't mention you at all, Xavier. Obviously, they don't care about your game. It's all about them. So the objective is to try to drive a little bit of a wedge between the Kings to make sure that Xavier also perhaps will vote to save Sarah Beth, vote Christian out. And more importantly, they think that if they do that, they should be able to bring Xavier in with them and maybe get a little more support with Xavier. That Xavier will be grateful that they're telling him about this deal that was offered and giving him a heads up. And so they're trying to work a deal or figure out a way that they can get a little tighter with some other relationships as well. So that was very interesting. Now, Derek F. Is also saying that Alyssa, they're trying to bring in Xavier, but he's also saying that, look, Alyssa's going to be needing someone after Christian is gone, and we can probably pull in Alyssa as well. So the jokers are thinking that they can grab the remainder of the Kings and perhaps pull them over to their side. So the takeaway from this conversation, from all of this, is the jokers have understood that putting two Kings on the block, yes, it guarantees that one of them goes home, which is important for a lot of people, but it also is a way to really drive a wedge into that Joker's team and potentially grab some more numbers as a result of it. Now, the other thing, not just the Team Kings, but this also stands a possibility of really driving a wedge into that Royal Flush Alliance as well. And from a Joker standpoint, fantastic. That's kind of the wedge that they need. They've been waiting for. So they understand the implications. They understand that while the opportunity is there, they may need to grab some people, and they're figuring out different ways that they may be able to do it. I kind of hope they do. All right, another thing. Later we found out that, I had to talk about the deal that was actually made. And again, it gets spread around everywhere. So Xavier, I think he already knows about it. If he doesn't know about it, he'll certainly know about it before Wednesday. So maybe the jokers ought to talk to him now and not wait till then. Don't know that that'll happen now. Another conversation, we've got Claire and Tiffany are talking about the deal offered by the jokers. Again, it doesn't take long for it to spread. Tiffany is saying, are the jokers dumb enough to actually take that deal, to think that that deal's going to be honored? I don't think they are. And Claire is saying that she said, I don't know if they'll take it or not, but Christian is convinced that he is staying. Now, here's the thing that's interesting, and I may mention again later because I know it took some no time. Christian and Alyssa, they know the backdoor plan has been put into play, that he's on the block. They are not convinced, or they don't realize that this was a plan from Derek X from the very beginning. They really think that this was a plan put in place only after Brittany won veto, that Brittany was the intended target, that Derek X wanted Brittany out, but it's only because she won the veto that he had to come up with another plan. At that point, they think that Hannah got in Derek X's ear, and Hannah was because of Kyland, and I mean, it's convoluted. But anyway, somehow it comes back to them blaming Kyland and Sarah Beth and Hannah for hatching this plan. But they don't believe this was always a plan. They think this was just only happened because Brittany won the veto. They're wrong. they're just wrong. But that's what they're thinking. They're still a little too confident about where their position is in this house. Claire is talking to Tiffany. She's saying, look, the jokers might actually be better saving Christian, because when you get right down to it, Kylan and Sarah Beth are much smarter than Alyssa and Christian are. So why not get rid of the smarter people right now and then save the less smart people for later? So she's saying that there's actually an argument to be made for getting Sarah Beth out the door. I don't think that means that they're considering that argument too tightly. Tiffany is saying, just to add on to that, she's saying, look, one of the benefits to keeping Christian is that then the guys are going to go after each other. Christian's going to go after Derek X. Derek X is going to continue to go after Christian, and we can set them up against each other. This would be bad for Derek X. That's the last thing Derek X wants. Once he's started this thing in play, he's got to follow it through. Otherwise, he's got a major enemy going against him. So it would be bad for Derek X. Tiffany has already talked to the cameras and said, look, I'll protect Derek X. No matter who's on the block, I'm voting to save Derek X. So Tiffany knows enough that would create issues for Derek X, and she's not going to put him in that position. I just don't think so. And later, Tiffany, in fact, kind of negates that advantage by saying, yeah, it would be nice to see that. But look, there's 7 women. We can go after these guys whenever we want. We can get them out whenever we want. She's right. Hey, you keep getting all the guys out, and there's some numerical advantages. The Cookout Alliance is going to have a huge advantage. The women are going to have a huge advantage. So Tiffany's in both those groups. She's in a pretty good position, isn't she? All right. Tiffany also is saying that if Christian leaves, she thinks that Kylan will then work with Tiffany and Claire because she thinks that Xavier's going to be upset that Christian went home and that he's basically going to blame Kylan for getting in Derek X's ear and maybe convincing him to put Christian up. So Xavier may be a little mad at Kylan. As a result, Tiffany and Claire thinking they may be able to take advantage of that, grab Kylan and start working a little bit tighter with them. Tiffany is worried that the Jokers and Xavier could join forces together, which is what the Jokers are talking about doing. We've already heard that conversation. So again, you're seeing some divisions and some friction being created because you've got 2 people from within the Royal Flush, 2 people from the King teams that are both on the block. That's just what we wanted, right? We didn't want to see all this kumbaya moments and everything. We want to see the friction. We want to see the wedges. We want to see the divisions. I think we got it. So yeah, I'm so happy for this. Nothing personal against anyone who's on the block or anyone targeting whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It's just looking for the messy gameplay and the drama and the chaos. That's what we as viewers are looking for, right? All right, we've got, I mentioned, and I'm going to say it again just because I thought it was kind of interesting or hilarious, funny. Alyssa and Christian, again, they're convinced that Brittany was the intended target, that Sarah Beth ratted them out, and then convinced Derek X to backdoor them after Brittany's win. I think I said Hannah earlier, but yeah, they're thinking it was Sarah Beth that got in Derek X's ear, and that's why they're kind of blaming Kylan as well also. Hannah is talking to Tiffany. Hannah's talking to Tiffany and saying, look, I understand what's going on. Well, Christian goes, that's fine. But next week, Sarah Beth has got to go. These 2 did not solve their beef with each other. Hannah's saying Sarah Beth has to go next week. But again, this is just more indication. If even Hannah is talking about Sarah Beth going home next week and not this week, if Hannah's not voting to send Sarah Beth out the door, well, that's telling me that Christian is a very high vote person getting sent out the door. It's not even going to be a close split vote or anything. It sounds like it's going to be Christian. May change the next couple of days, but at least for now. We've got Hannah and Kylan talking in the bathroom. Kylan is saying that the Cookout members aren't as aware as they should be. He's saying, look, not all of them even realize that you and Derek X are so close together. And he's also saying, and look at Xavier. And I love Xavier and all of that, but Xavier never has even bothered to build a relationship with Derek X. He's just, focused on focused on Whitney, and then he's focused on Christian. He keeps losing his people, and he's never really worked as much as he should with the other side. He does also mention that he thinks Xavier is maybe is closest to Kylan. And I don't know. It's just even between Kylan and Derek, and even between Kylan and Xavier, you're seeing people a little suspicious of each other as sides are declared and such. So that's a little interesting. We've got Sarah Beth and Kylan. Now, this is a long conversation. Sarah Beth and Kylan spent a lot of time talking yesterday. Sarah Beth said that she had heard that, and she heard from Derek X that Alyssa had a plan to send Sarah Beth home with the assumption that it was going to be Derek F going up on the block instead of Christian. That if it was Derek F and Sarah Beth on the block, that Alyssa was still planning to send Sarah Beth home, even though officially they're part of the Royal Flush together and part of the Kings together. That Alyssa still wanted to go ahead and send her home over Derek F. And she's upset about that. She wants to know who told Derek X about this, because she's saying that person didn't tell me about it, but if they told Derek X, that tells me what my position is with them. And she thinks it was Claire or Tiffany. She doesn't think it was Brittany. She said, I'm pretty sure it's Claire or Tiffany that told Derek X that, and I just am very concerned that they told him and not me. Kylan's coming back saying, I don't think it was Claire or Tiffany. I truly don't think so, Sarah Beth. And that creates a little friction between the two of them as well. Sarah Beth is a little upset that Kylan doesn't seem more concerned, isn't giving her more information about this. And at this point, Sarah Beth is saying, look, I want to go ask them. I want to go ask Claire and Tiffany, which of them went to Derek X. I got to figure this stuff out. But Kylan is telling her, slow down. You don't have to do it all right now. Just give it time. You've got plenty of days. Another day or two is not going to make a difference. Get more information. Keep stuff close to the vest. Go talk to them later if you want to. And I think that's fantastic advice. I truly do. But Sarah Beth doesn't take it so well. She's basically saying, look, I came to you asking for advice, and you're treating me like it was a dumb question. I'm doing dumb moves and all of that. And Kylan says, no, I'm always here for you. I'm always going to support you. I'm just saying slow down a little bit. But again, Sarah Beth is upset that people have been talking behind her back. She says that she's worried because she saw everyone talking throughout the day, but no one told her anything. And she said, I'm on the block. I would have expected some people to come talk to me, and no one did anything at all. So she feels very isolated at this point in time. And she is saying, and I mentioned earlier, she's saying, look, I understand Christian hopefully is going home this week and I'm safe, but I think they're just going to keep putting me up on the block over and over and over again. And I think at one point Derek Kylan says, other people. Nicole F got put on the block a lot, and she still did fine. And Sarah, that's not what Sarah Beth wants to hear. She's saying, nah, I don't want to be put on the block over and over again. And I just think that my game is in a bad position no matter what happens this week. And I think she's kind of right. From Sarah Beth's standpoint, she's got to hope that, I don't know, she's got to kind of hope that this wedge between these groups maybe gets even bigger, because otherwise I feel like she's low on the totem pole, high on the pecking order as far as the next target. But if something was to happen, if this group was to fall apart, it's possible that you could get bigger targets going after each other and give her a few weeks protection. I don't know, just something I'm thinking about. So we'll see. Kylan does say, look, yeah, I know you saw these people talking, including myself, but every conversation I had with you yesterday or today, every conversation I had with people tonight was all about saving you. It was all about protecting you for this week. I'm doing everything I can to save you, Sarah Beth. You just have to know that. And he says, but no one else can know that. No one else can know how close we are, because it's going to create issues for us. But just trust me, I'm doing everything I can to protect you. And I think he's right. He doesn't want her to go. He's trying everything he can to protect her. But he's already gotten called out by Tiffany and others, and people have already whispered about how tight these two are. Sarah Beth saying, I feel like we did a good job of hiding how tight we are until maybe this week. Yeah, this week you spent a lot of time hanging out with each other. A few people, Tiffany's saying it's a showmance, and I don't know that a lot of people are necessarily buying that. But everyone knows that they're super tight with each other, and that's really all it takes to protect each other, right? So she's saying, yeah, we maybe didn't do such a good job this week, but he's saying, we can't let anyone know. We just can't do it. Well, obviously, he wants to protect all his other alliances as well, but he is protecting Sarah Beth also. We also have Hannah and Ozza having a pretty long conversation. Basically, they're both saying that, look, when the time's right, Hannah's saying, I'd love Derek X. He's my tight guy. I don't want to see him go, but when the time's right, when I've got to do it as part of the cookout plan, I'll do it. I'm going to do it. And Hannah's saying the same. Hannah's saying that. Ozza's saying as well that she'll she'll cut people loose, Brittany or whatever. That they'll do what they have to do to protect the Cookout Alliance. They also are talking a little bit about who to go after if one of them wins HOH. Who would they go after as their next target? And the names I heard mentioned, Sarah Beth and Alyssa. No surprise there whatsoever. Two people that maybe, especially if the Joker's side with Sarah Beth and send out Christian, well, Alyssa's going to be mad. I can certainly see her going after Ozza. Sarah Beth is certainly going to be going after Hannah if she gets a chance. So, yeah, hearing those two names mentioned by these two doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And finally, in the evening, oh, poor Brittany. Brittany is sick. She thinks maybe too much icing or something sweet that she ate. She's not real sure, but she goes into the bathroom at one point. Apparently, she's nauseous. She may have thrown up in there. She's in the shower feeling miserable. Ozza's trying to take care of her, but she's taking Tums, and she is not doing well. So poor Brittany, even the week that she's not on the block, she's still miserable. She's not going to have a happy week. Come Thursday, she'll be pretty happy when she's not having to give well, I don't know. I was going to say when she's not having to give an eviction speech. She may actually miss having the opportunity to do that, but I'm sure she'll be happy not to be sitting in those chairs. But yeah, Brittany's not feeling great. Hopefully it's just a 24-hour bug. She'll be back into play tomorrow and get to actually be on the receiving end of campaigns instead of being on the giving side of it, and she'll be excited about that. I'm sure she'll be very involved throughout this entire week and very happy that she's not the one that's at risk right now. So there you have it, guys. An exciting day. Campaigning's in play, but I think we'll see it firming up over the next few days as well. But it's going to be either Christian or Sarah Beth going home, and almost certainly it's going to be Christian. We've got America's Twist on Thursday. That'll throw a whole new wrench in everything that's going on. I'm excited to see that as well. But guys, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow morning, give you a new feeds update of what happened overnight tonight, and we'll talk more then. Cheers, my friends. SKD 143.